Hello, everybody. It's Wednesday, not Tuesday. I'm in a bit of a mood. Just throwing it out there. We can fight if you want to. I ain't scared. DJ, what's going on? Hey, sorry, he was just the last one I saw pop up there. So, yeah, I got to work tonight. I got to leave at midnight. Dang it. Anyhow, let's talk about some stuff. I'll throw the link up here. Anyone that would like to get on and, you know, express their opinions or things like that, thoughts, hurt feelings, whatever. Feel free to do that. We'll let you in here and you can say what you'd like to say and we can have a discussion. Anyhow, we'll be right back. I got commercials and stuff I got to do. You guys know how it goes. And as soon as I find a button to push, I'm going to push it.
Paying too much for trucking insurance? What if you could save more by making one simple phone call and keep more profit? You could very well do just that with one simple call to Seabright Agency, 800-366-6466. Call now.
Now here's a question that all owner-operators and small fleet owners should consider. What happens when you access the unrivaled advantages that are available through the ES Advantage program? We asked Jeff and Charlie from Contractors Corner to share their thoughts on how they've been able to utilize the discounts and services that are a part of the ES Advantage.
So we started looking for a way to save money on fuel. And we were turned on to the ES Advantage program for fuel first. And so we got a hold of Jeff Reese and he ran us through that program. And man, we were starting to save. And then we started talking to them. Well, we saw their website and we said, Jeff, what's this thing about insurance and accounting and
Right.
you lease trucks? What?
Right. And that's the thing is we only knew it as a fuel card. And when we started digging deeper, I mean, we ended up getting hooked up with an insurance provider, Seabright Agency, and they created an entire insurance program just for us and our people. And from that, we've learned that, now there's even more potential. There's a greater opportunity. And it's completely opened up our eyes and broadened our vision into what it is we're trying to do, which is help people do better. Wrapped with the ES community just makes that process so much easier.
Now, if you're an owner-operator or small fleet owner and you would like to learn more about how you can drive savings to the bottom line of your business, the ES Advantage program has the discounts and services that deliver the kind of unrivaled advantages that are designed to help you improve your overall operation. Get connected with the ES Advantage today.
This is just for Tim.
Okay.
Let him groove on a little bit.
There's two Tims in the chat right now, so we're talking Trucker Tim.
Right. Wait, we're on the wrong side. I don't have a beard. What the heck? There we go. Wait.
Charlie doggone lost his mind.
All right. We're here. We are doing things. Timothy Ransom's still mad at me from last week. That's cool. Whatever, bro.
Why poke the bear, Charlie?
Because I can't help it. I'm in a mood.
Why are you in a mood?
It's just been a crappy couple of days. That's all. Pain.
Okay.
And stuff.
So Tim answered my question. I asked if he went to see Supergirl yet, and I'm interested in his opinion.
Nice.
Because it got lambasted.
Did it really?
Oh, yeah. Really bad opening, box office numbers. Of course, it's all the fans' fault because that's what the studios say these days. But I'm wondering, it's a superhero movie, right? I will eventually see it. I'm not one to go to the theater much anymore because, costs frickin' an arm and a leg to go to the theater with the family, especially
when you got 1,000 kids like you do.
Yeah. The last movie we went to, Charlie, was the last Star Wars release.
Nice.
And that was almost 5-6 years ago now?
Right.
And it cost us, it was me, Donna, and 2 of our kids. And it cost us like $130, including popcorn and all that. So once a movie gets released on like Prime, even if I can't wait, boots are too long, but great movie. Okay.
That's a legit
She
criticism.
got those,
right
she
there,
got those blondie boots.
right?
But you know, and let's be real, Charlie, you and I are getting a little older.
What?
So, and I've got the big screen and the nice sound in the house
Right.
anymore. So like Project Hail Mary, you've heard me talk about how I was looking forward to that one. I couldn't wait, so I waited for it to get down to $12.99 and
Nice.
then pull the trigger on it because I really wanted to see this movie. And so we watched it the other day. And you know what? If the diabetes and prostate issues kick in and I have to pee, you know what I can do? Boop. I gotta go
Right?
pee. I'll be right back.
I
And
know,
then-
huh?
Or if we run out of popcorn, boop, let's go pop some more popcorn.
You know what, though? One of the things I like about going to the theater to watch a movie
The other
is
people,
Rosie can't stop it every 5 minutes to get up and go do something else.
I was gonna say, so like especially like Star Wars and Star Trek movies, I do like to go opening night because I enjoy the fans.
Right.
Because you know that's when you get the guys with the Spock ears dressed up like stormtroopers, what have you, depending on the movie, right?
Yeah.
And it's just a good time.
Wait, Spock's not from Star Wars?
What?
Just rile people up.
May the force be with you.
That's right.
brother.
Nanu. Oh, that's one from the past, huh? I'm just saying.
Yeah. He said it's not a remake, it's a reboot in the new DCU. Okay. So they're still trying that, are they? I have an opinion on the DCU versus the MCU. I think the DC guys missed their opportunity big time.
They should have fought him directly during the time Marvel
Yeah.
was putting it all out.
As
You know
soon
what
as
I mean?
Iron Man became a big hit, DC should have been right on it. Bam.
they oh god.
Because you know, we'll bring this back around to business, I think, maybe. But I was reading an article about Supergirl just before the show, Charlie, and some of the industry insiders are thinking that part of the problem with that movie is that people are just tired of superhero movies at this point.
Right?
Because if you watch the entire MCU like I did, like I fell behind on the movies and had to go to streaming because it was every freaking 6 months a new movie was coming out. And I can't remember how many it is. It's over 25 movies that you have to watch to get the full story of starting with Iron Man and going to the last movie. And you have to watch them in order, otherwise you miss stuff. You know, and there's a couple of TV shows, Charlie, if you're not aware of,
That's like work, though.
that get referenced in the movies. That if you didn't watch the TV show, you might not know what's going on.
See, this is why I take a book, well, an audio version of a book or a movie as a single thing. And I have the ability to just be like, I liked this or I didn't like this. Right?
Yeah.
I don't tie it back to all, like you guys nerd out. And I mean, I'm not saying that as a bad thing. I'm saying you guys remember. I intentionally forget about all of it.
I remember.
I don't remember. I don't want to remember.
Yeah, so like the business of the film industry, you know, they like what happened to Star Trek recently. You know, people didn't really like the newest Star Trek show all that much.
I enjoyed the hell out of it.
I thought it was okay. It wasn't great. It wasn't terrible, but it was definitely different. And what they did was they took a risk and tried something new, and it didn't pan out. The ratings were terrible on that show.
Great.
So a certain group of the fan base is blaming the other group of the fan base because reasons that I'm not going to get into here. I went political last week, Charlie, so I have to tone it down this week.
Right.
So people were like, well, now Star Trek's dead because of you stupid mag hats. Basically. Okay. Well, I just read an article directly from Paramount that, yeah, they like dismantled all the sets, Charlie, and everything like that.
Right.
but they're planning a full reboot is what they're doing.
Of course.
Because the franchise makes money. And that's the thing, we're fans of these shows, these movies or whatnot, but if they don't make money, guess what happens? They go away. For as anti-capitalist as the Hollywood types tend to be, they're absolutely driven by money.
Go figure that.
So, and it's the same thing with what we do. We provide a service to a carrier or directly to shippers if you have your own authority, and we have to compete. When rates get a little low, people get kind of upset, but you still have to decide what's good for your business, right? Are you going to take that load or not? And that's entirely up to you. I don't know. We've talked about it before, Charlie, the crap rates that typically come out of Florida. And guys will say, I'm not taking that $1.02 load up to Georgia because screw that. I'm just going to deadhead. Okay, well, how much fuel did that just cost you? And would that $1.02 have actually paid for the fuel at least?
So they sent me one today.
Yeah.
Rosie and I giggled about it because it was literally one of those crappy rates coming out of Florida, but they wanted me to run all the way to Virginia with it at 44,000 pounds.
For how much?
Next, just barely over $1.
Yeah, no.
I was like, yeah, no, no, we're good. Although they do have a load on there right now that's Ocala to Chewy and back to Ocala, I think. And it's paying $2.72 a mile.
Okay.
It's only paying 1 mile.
What?
I kid you not. It's literally on the load board for $2.72 or $2.76, something like that. There's several of those. Those made me giggle. And
is that a glitch or is that legit?
No, I don't know what the hell they're doing. But they have a bunch of Chewy loads sitting on the Ocala yard that apparently were being stored until later. So half the yard is full of loaded Chewy trailers, which really upset me the other day. Anyhow,
so how far away from the terminal is Chewy?
Just a few miles. It's one exit up north. So it's probably, I don't know, 5 or 10 miles one way, something like that.
Yeah, but just to move it, I mean, come on.
I know, man.
If there's 10 of them on the yard, I'll do all 10 of them for $2,000.
Oh, but they're all live unloads.
Oh, well, screw that.
Right? You see what I'm saying? It just keeps getting
better. You saw where my mind went.
Yeah.
So I'll do them all for you for $2,000 because that'll take me about a day and a half.
Right?
If there was a drop.
Yeah. Bring back an empty, drop off a loaded. Bring back an empty, drop a loaded, Dude, it's crazy because like the first one on there doesn't deliver till the 7th.
Wow.
The next one was the 9th. Yeah.
That sounds like a good run for a day cab.
Right? Some poor schmo that gets paid hourly.
Yeah.
It just cracked me up. But I mean, whatever.
So are they sitting there because they're just being stored?
Yeah.
So Chewy is probably paying storage fees on that.
Probably.
I don't know what the going rate on storage fees were, but I remember back when I first started and I was asking Dana about all those Costco loads and stuff that they would store ahead of Thanksgiving on the yard and then take them up to the DC before the holidays. It was something like $300 a day to sit on the yard.
There's a lot of trailers there. I want to say 20 or 30. Somewhere in that range. There's an entire row of them. And then they're scattered all over the place. And then there's another little group and another little group. And it was annoying the hell out of me the other day when I was looking. They sent me there looking for a trailer. Go figure, right? And once again, no empty trailers for Charlie. So I ended up going up to Dollar General up in Alachua to finally get one. And I got the only one that they had. The guy right behind me in line was another Swift driver dropping a load, had to leave without a trailer. But had I not got the last trailer, I wouldn't have been able to make my load.
Right.
And like I put in a request early in the morning, like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. And they're like, approve your logs. I'm like, I did it 4:30 in the morning. I actually went out to the truck and approved logs because last time they're like, oh, we can't do anything until you approve your logs. And I did. And then they sent me, I'm like, it was like noon or something. And I'm like, hey, any update on my empty trailer solution? They're like, you got to approve your logs. I said, I did it 4:30 in the morning. Oh, well, I still can't do anything. I'll get with your driver leader.
On a Sunday?
No, it was I don't know what day. Friday. Friday? I don't know. Something. I don't know when the hell it was. Wait, what day is today?
First?
Not the date.
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Look, Charlie, go like this. Just look just above your head.
Oh God. Right. It's not Tuesday. It is Wednesday. Look, that's a pretty good thumbnail today, right? Come on.
Yeah, it's good.
And it kind of fits the July thing, and I thought it was a good fancy one to put up. But it was Monday. No, we went to work on Monday.
Oh, right. Okay.
Right. And we drove out, delivered that, like, God, and Walmart. Oh my God, Walmart in Brundage. That place was crazy at 2:30 in the morning.
Was it really?
Oh my God, dude. Like when we got there, we were like, I don't know, number 6 in line. And had 2 more come up behind me. And while we were inside, when we came back out, I did score a 22 trailer though on the way out. That was awesome. It was hidden in the middle of a bunch of them that were full of pallets.
You have to change duty status for the verification of logs to go through. Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm not doing it.
That seems like a bug to me.
That would be a false rods for me.
Right.
Because I was off duty. Anyhow, but then, yeah, when I came out, they were backed up all the way from the gate to the stoplight. And there was 2 more coming up the road that were going to get stopped at the stoplight. And there was already one at the stoplight waiting to make the turn in, but couldn't because it was full. And so, yeah. So then we ran that load. We got up to, then we drove to Mobile and Rosie got lost. That was pretty awesome. It was back roads from Brundage down towards Mobile. It was pretty awesome. And it was these tiny little roads. And then we got on one that said, oh, this road's closed ahead at this other road. And we're like, I don't know any of these roads. Follow the detour. Screw it. Turn right. Follow the detour. Right. And
right.
But then, like they like to do, there's no more detour signs that tell you how to follow the detour. That was just it. Just make this right. Man. So yeah, Rosie ended up in all kinds of crazy back roads. And it was fun. And then we got a load from Mobile back to, I got to go to Port St. Lucie tomorrow morning. I have a 7 a.m. Live unload at the Costco DC. So we're leaving at midnight tonight. Got to go grab the trailer, drive down there, nowhere to park down there. By the time, like if we left right after the show, there would be nowhere to park. And, get there too early and they're like, no, go away. You can't even sit here and wait. So
I told you that my last couple of weeks there were like that because I was actually getting expedited loads.
Right.
So it was pick up, deliver, pick up, deliver, pick up, deliver.
Yeah.
And because of the time of delivery was like 2:30 in the morning.
Right.
Luckily, I was on that section of I-95 that has the truck pullouts on the interstate.
Yeah.
And I just went in there, took my 3-hour nap, split my berth, and that gave me enough time to get to a truck stop.
Right.
After the parking started,
Yeah. Yeah. No. And going down there, man, because it's kind of a little bit above Miami. There's nowhere out there, man. There's just nowhere. And it's like, I mean, you go down there in the middle of the day and it's full,
Right.
It doesn't matter what time of day. It's just full. And the best part is when you go to those places and there's a car parked in a spot, saving a spot for, them to come back because they park there every night.
Oh yeah, dude. So I took my custom Western Star to the dealership today,
Yes, sir.
and I get to the dealership, and normally there's a place we normally park at the West Valley Freightliner dealership,
Right.
full of cars. So I ended up parking over by their body shop because that was the closest thing to the service riders that I could get.
Right.
And he's like, "So where did you park?" I'm like, "Down that way." He's like, "Oh, over by the body shop." I'm like, "Yeah, you got all these 4-wheelers out here. It's annoying." He's like, "Yeah, I don't know what's up with that, man.
We'll go make a move. Oh,
Go make a move, man. That's truck parking." But yeah, getting the air conditioning fixed, man.
yeah.
That last time down in Vegas hit 111 degrees. So I got a little thing on my wall in the sleeper that tells me what the temperature is inside the sleeper. And the last night I spent on the road, I got it down to 92 degrees.
Good Lord.
And it's doing that thing, in your truck, Charlie, you got the super secret Mario Brother thing where you could reset everything.
Right.
The Western Star's got the older system, so that's not a thing. So I'm like looking it up, trying to figure out how I might be able to fix it. And apparently on that one, you just have to turn the master power off and let it sit until all the capacitors deplete and everything resets.
Right.
And that didn't work. And I don't know if some of you guys might know what this means. I think I do know what it means because I was again researching, but I hear an audible click behind the dash when the air conditioner's running. Turn the air conditioner off and it stops. So I think there's a valve that's sticking.
Yeah, could be.
So it's not getting the coolant to the back evaporator.
Huh.
The other thing it could be is a leak in the system, because it does blow cool-ish air for a couple minutes back there, but then it turns warm. And that was the other thing, was the way that system works apparently, and I wouldn't have known this without looking it up, is if there's not enough coolant in the system, I always forget what it is. We used to use Freon. So I'll just say Freon because that's what we used to use. If there's not enough in the system to charge the entire system, it'll only charge the front and not the back evaporator. So, yeah. And so I'm telling the service writer all this. He's like, "Yeah, you need to get that fixed, man." I'm like, "Yeah, I do."
Yeah, dude. It's been too hot, man. Like when we were coming out of Mobile, we did get to stop over there by the USS Alabama on the way back. We did a shift change on the side of the road there on one of that big ass turnout that's there that everybody looks at and goes, "Oh man, that'd be a good spot to stop."
Yeah.
So we sat there for 30 minutes. It was nice watching fish jump and things like that. Anyhow, but on the way back, it was 98 degrees and fixing to rain.
Yep.
Oh my God. It was brutal.
Oh, and so I've got the good old emissions fault light on the dash.
Nice.
So I told the guy, I've been doing this long enough to where I know what that is, and chances are another couple power cycles and it'll just go away.
Right.
But since it's active now, why don't you guys take a look at that too? And I asked him, I said, "So with the 28s, with the new rules, is that going to hopefully go away?" And his response was, "We sure hope so." Because, they're charging you $75 to hook up a thing and clear the code.
Right.
And reset the system, and then it's fine.
And half the time
it happens.
But there's a great thing is half the time they'll hook up to it and there's like, yeah, there's nothing showing at all.
Yeah.
Because it lit, reset, but the light's still on your dash, but there's absolutely no history of the code.
Right.
Because it was just a voltage fault.
So he was saying that with the new sensor package they're putting in the brand new trucks, they're hoping that goes away. But of course, guys, you can't upgrade your current sensor package. It doesn't work that way.
As my mama used to say, hope in one hand, poop in the other. See which one fills up first.
Yep. Yeah. But yeah, so I got a chance to ask about that the new rules on that NOx sensor system. because it is ridiculous.
Tim said Anheuser-Busch in Baldwinsville. What a name. Baldwinsville, New York. Was a madhouse last night. Took 2 hours for a drop. Getting out the gate took me over an hour to do the line. Yeah. So I asked him, and because my brain is what it is, right? I'm like, is it always like this here? He's like, no, man, it's the 4th of July weekend. I was like, oh yeah. And they're a both side DC Brundage, so they do dry and refrigerated.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, most of the people coming in were all refrigerated guys, and I felt for them because there was, oh my God, so many people coming in for live unloads.
Right.
Like the prime guy in front of me, when answering the question on the sheet, said, "Swing doors. What does that mean?"
What?
He's like, the doors that go like this. Yeah, that's it. Oh, okay, bro.
That's funny,
bro. Oh my God. Anyhow, yeah, it's been a weird couple days. I've been a little, and it's coming out today. I apologize. Not really, but
you did actually answer your phone on Monday, though.
I did.
That's weird,
right? I know. It's funny that I even saw Timothy Ransom's message because I just don't go on Facebook anymore. And when I saw it, I was like, oh, okay. That was a couple of days ago. And I just let it go. Anyhow, I got a bunch of messages on them right now. I didn't open any of them.
So you didn't see the that DOT cop post that I shared to the meet and greet group just for you?
Nope.
Yeah, he got a little passionate about the whole firearms in the truck issue.
Oh, good.
He's like, look, man, there is nothing in FMCSA.
Right.
Let me say it again. That is a myth.
And people keep arguing with him.
I know.
It's crazy.
And he, like, the way he did it was cool, though, because the first half of his video, he's talking about company drivers.
Right.
And then about halfway through, he's like, now let's talk to the owner operators. That's a whole different ball game right there.
Right.
Because you work for yourself.
Absolutely correct.
Now,
I don't even have to see it. Because I've watched some of his other ones about firearms. Mm-hmm. So I know what he's saying. And it's what I've been saying forever. Right.
Right.
It's what many people have been saying that are actually, pay attention and I don't know, read laws. Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of just sitting at the lunch counter and listening to, old man Willie, who's been driving since 1471.
One of the original mule skinners.
Right. Yeah. I don't, and they argue with him. The comments in the first one I saw, I was like, what is right? The dude's a cop. He's a DOT cop. He's telling you there's no law.
Right. And he even said, like, when they're doing inspections, like even if they do happen to get back in your sleeper for whatever reason, which they rarely do, and they see a firearm just sitting there naked on the bed, he's like, that's not my jurisdiction. I don't care.
Right.
It's up to you, though, to be compliant with the local jurisdiction. And if you're not in compliance and a police officer catches you, you might be in trouble.
Right. Yeah. I feel like I want to go up to where he is, but it would require me to go through a bunch of states I'm not supposed to go through.
Right.
Because of permitting, and just have like an AR hanging off the top bunk underneath,
Yeah.
Just hanging there swinging.
Well, he's in Vermont, so isn't that one of the tougher states too?
I don't know about Vermont. I haven't looked specifically. I know there's a couple up above that block that I can go to, but I got to go through others to get there that I can't go through.
So he mentioned something in this video that gave me a little more insight into who the man is. So he lives in New York State, but works in Vermont.
Crazy.
I didn't know that before. So obviously he lives on the border, but
right.
Kind of interesting.
I'm actually curious if Vermont's one of them. I got to look it up real fast with my handy dandy USCCA reciprocity app. Oh my gosh. I don't want to. My phone is being difficult. I just give up.
Hmm.
I don't have that kind of. Baldwinsville is just northeast of Syracuse. Yeah, that's
Okay.
deep Canada.
Yeah.
Michael Fowler. Tomorrow is the day for me to jump out of Northeast Regional and join the load board. Good. I think you'll dig it, man.
Yeah, I'm kind of entertained by the Beyond group right now, Charlie, because whenever someone asks about it, there's this core group of people like, well, I'm sure that the people that just love the freaking load board will get on here and tell you all about it, but I think it's crap. And I'm like, well, I hope you enjoy your $1.80 a mile because these guys are making $2.50, $3 a mile, all
whatever.
day long. So whatever, man. I mean, it's just that I get the consistency, maybe. I mean, that might be a thing on the mileage contract because you're not having to hustle for loads. Again, there is a pain in the butt factor that you might not want to deal with, and that's up to you. That's fine. But it's like a lot of things, Charlie. It's like when we tell people slow down the truck, and they tell us, "I don't want to slow down." Okay,
Right.
That's up to you. It's your business, but don't tell me you're making more money. Because you're not, the numbers just don't bear that out. So
I'm with you, DJ. By the way, hey, what's up, DJ? Oh yeah, I saw Quick earlier, but yeah, DJ, for real, right? It's because it's a different country, bro. I'm just saying.
there was another decision from SCOTUS striking down. They just handed it down like a week ago.
There was stuff today I thought they were talking about probably in the last couple of days.
So the last thing I saw on it was that their attorney general was going to look into that decision. And honestly, I'm still doing the Facebook trolling thing as a hobby right now.
Right.
So my comment on that was, I think that the state attorney general is misunderstanding where his place in the pecking order is.
Right. They've already stated their case, and the Supreme said, no, you're wrong.
Right. Well, with SCOTUS, like there was a decision the other day having to do with birthright citizenship.
Right.
And I found the comments about it interesting. Because me, Charlie, once SCOTUS decides something, I'm like, okay, I guess.
Right.
I mean, that's their whole function, right? But people want to argue their decision, and I'm like,
Right.
well, there was three justices that had dissenting opinions on this one. And the comment I made was, I find it interesting that they, number one, publish the dissenting opinion.
Right.
But then, Charlie, the court goes with the majority. It's not that these judges don't have their own opinions.
Right.
But the court goes with the majority. You know what that tells me, Charlie? The system's working.
Right.
The system's working.
Saying.
If you have 5 judges saying, no, this is it, and 3 judges saying that I don't agree with that, they go with the majority.
Right.
Every time. And the last couple of big decisions that I've seen, we just had the big one about brokers, right? That affected us directly. The last couple of decisions that I've seen, about half the country is upset and the other half is happy.
Right.
And again, you know what that tells me, Charlie? The system is working.
Yep.
Because these guys aren't worried about, Charlie, how do you feel about this?
Right.
They're looking at the Constitution. And these are constitutional scholars. They've been studying the Constitution for decades and decades and decades. And it's not that they don't have differing opinions on what the words mean.
Right.
But when it comes down to brass tacks, it's a majority thing.
Right.
Your feelings be darned.
Well, one thing that 2A people should enjoy is the expectation of about this time next year, we will finally get a decision on the AR-15 ban, it looks like. And there's a couple others that are scheduled now. simply because they had to take care of some other ones first. There wasn't room on this one, but the opinions or the statements made by some of the justices stated, "Oh no, we definitely need to get to this. We just can't get to it right this minute. So we're going to push it down just a little bit." And it looks like that one specifically is going to be decided next year.
But what if I paint my AR-15 brown instead of black? Does that make a difference, Charlie?
Probably in some state. Who knows? So there was a decision recently talking about firearms. It was actually a decision on stun guns and whether or not people could use them. And the decision there was it's a I don't know if you want to call it a weapon or a tool, a defensive aid, whatever, but it came back down to basically the Bruin decision, which said that, if it's in popular use, right? And with that, it was a couple 100,000. With the AR-15, there are millions upon millions upon. It is the #1 selling firearm in the United States, AR-15.
Is it really?
The #1 purchased firearm. How can you say that that's not in common use?
Right.
And it's not just, oh God, that decision I hope really goes right. Yeah, Mike Henderson, the broker's decision was a 9-0, which actually surprised. Yeah, no, right?
Yeah.
It's hard to get a unanimous. So I'm just saying.
Well, so again with the division that we have, because
Jeff froze. Oh, that's hot. Screenshot. Watch this. Oh, he's back. Dang it.
Anyway, what bothers me is that
the division, that's where we lost you.
The division being caused by social media directly, which I think is a major cause of division. I was reading a psychological opinion about this the other day, that most people, we have friends that are watching this show right now that think the opposite that we do politically. But the bottom line is, what do we all want? We want to feed our kids. We want a home. We want a car. We all want the same doggone things. So the division's really being caused by this back and forth and the clickbaity stuff. But as a result of this, there's a good number in this country that those three judges that had the dissenting opinion on birthright citizenship are literally being called traitors.
Right.
And like, they don't know the Constitution and this and that. I'm like, okay, well, you spend 40 years studying the Constitution, and then you'll have a leg to stand on that one. So right. What I actually did,
you're welcome.
Anyway, so what I did was, once the decision was handed down and I saw all this back and forth, you know what I did, Charlie? Because it's been a while. I went and I read the 14th Amendment.
Right? Crazy talker.
I started asking people, so have you read the 14th Amendment? Tell me that there's not two different ways you can look at that amendment.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. That section 1 is what was really in contention.
Right.
Birthright citizenship. You read that and you tell me that there are multiple ways to interpret that. There are.
Well, there aren't if you are of one view, either side.
Yeah, I guess.
It's only their side.
Right. But if you just
I'm saying that about both sides. I'm not picking on anyone here.
But if you just read the words of section 1 of that amendment and try to be unbiased.
Right.
And say to yourself, you are not a constitutional scholar. Let's just read the words and see what we think. It is not cut and dry, dude. But what we have is 100 and how many years of precedent. And I think that's what the court was making its decision on personally. It's interesting. I find it interesting I find it interesting to read the dissenting opinion on these things because it's an educational experience. I think it's interesting.
I'm reading section 1, the 4 pillars.
Yep.
I could see how people could, yeah.
I could
I
argue
see
either
it
way
both.
just based on the text.
Right.
But I don't have the experience as a judge and precedent and all that stuff that they look at.
So I think that the subject, okay, citizenship clause. How's that? I'm going to start there. Grant citizenship to all persons born or naturalized in the U.S. and subject to its jurisdiction, comma, explicitly overruling the 1857 Dred Scott decision. So I think the subject to its jurisdiction thing could be argued in many different ways.
And that's what the people against birthright citizenship are arguing. That's exactly what they're arguing is if you're here illegally, are you truly under the jurisdiction of the United States or are you still under the jurisdiction of your home country?
Right.
And that's an interesting one to debate.
Or are you countryless?
Right.
Because that's a thing.
Right.
If you fled for whatever reasons.
Now, you want me to get deeper into the weeds on this, Charlie? It could be.
Yeah, why not? Let's piss some people off.
Again, with my theory that the Supremes just look at the Constitution. There was another decision handed down today, this very day, that gave states the right that affirmed, didn't give it to them because this is a states' rights issue. That's what the court decided. That affirmed a state's right to ban transgender girls from competing in girls' sports. They kicked it back to the states. Is what they did. So the same people that were praising the court for the decision on birthright citizenship are pissed off like you wouldn't believe about the one that got handed down today. Again, what does this tell you, Charlie? They aren't caring about our feelings. They're looking at the Constitution. I'm just saying.
Right.
And sometimes it's going to torque you off.
So yeah, June 29th and 30th, birthright citizenship, Trump v. Barbera, transgender athletes.
Yep.
West Virginia v. BPJ, campaign finance, National Republican Senatorial Committee versus the Federal Election Commission. Court struck down limits on how much a national political party can spend in coordination with candidates, ruling that these Federal Election Campaign Act restrictions violate the First Amendment. Okay. FTC. I don't want to read that one. Federal Reserve, mail-in ballots. That's a hot one too.
Yeah.
The court ruled that's Watson v. Republican National Committee. The court ruled that federal election day statutes do not preempt Mississippi's law allowing the counting of absentee ballots postmarked by election day but received up to 5 days later. I'm going to piss some Republicans off. I don't have a problem with that one.
Yeah, if it's that's always been the litmus though, Charlie. When is it postmarked?
And when is it received? I think there has to be a limit to how long.
Now, Donna and I, Oregon is 100% vote by mail and has been my entire adult life.
Right.
And we've never trusted the Postal Service. So you know what we do? We drive our happy butt down to City Hall and drop it in the drop box. That's what we do.
That's what I did. It's right across the street from the election office.
Right. And especially in a town like we lived in Rainier with 20,000 people or something like that.
Right.
I mean, it was literally down the hill from where we lived. We could walk down there.
Okay. So Fran, right here. That is why the Constitution is not taught in schools anymore, so you won't know what they're doing. I don't disagree with that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think it's a damn shame.
I mean, I think our generation, Charlie, was the last one to really get that.
Right?
Starting in middle school, that was the first one where we had to take UN the law. And we did a little mock trial.
Right?
For us, it was Big Bad Wolf versus Little Red Riding Hood for breaking and entering.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. DJ said Alberta just passed legislation banning pride flag in schools.
So that's a sticky wicket.
Right?
That one is.
That fast.
Huh?
Nothing. I'm broken.
Yeah, a lot of some of the stuff that's going on, it's really tough to for me anyway, Charlie, being so y'all think that I'm this big MAGA guy, I'm sure, but at heart I'm really a libertarian.
Right?
So I would say in American schools anyway, if you can't have the 10 Commandments in school, then you can't have the pride flag in school. You know, if they really want to do the separation of church and state and all that stuff, right? It should just be reading, writing, arithmetic. That's all they should be teaching. And then you in the law class to teach you what your rights are. I don't know how valuable really a constitutional law class would be until maybe late high school.
Right.
Where you actually read the Constitution itself, because that's a heavy read, Charlie. I don't know about you, but that's a pretty heavy read. But yeah, I say get rid of things where teachers influence the thinking of kids. Teach them how to think, but don't teach them what to think.
I think they should be able to challenge any and all sides.
Mm-hmm. Well, one of the best and most influential high school teachers I had was a history teacher. And he was like one of those guys that went to Woodstock, that type of hippie.
Right.
And he would challenge us, and he would encourage us to voice our opinions. And me and my buddy, we were like young conservatives at the time, kind of, you know, all that, you know.
Right.
And he would push back, but he never made us feel bad about our opinions. Right. There were sometimes he's like, that's interesting. I disagree, but that's interesting. Well thought out. Good job.
Yeah. Okay. Everybody gets to have an opinion.
Yeah.
I have no problem with this. What I have a problem with is they can't defend their opinion.
Right.
That's when I start struggling with, how do you even have this opinion if you can't even defend what it is that you're saying? Right? Because so many people say, oh, this is blue. Is it? Why is it blue?
Because I said so.
Right. Maybe it's green. I don't know. Maybe my perception is different.
Right.
But you can't have that kind of a discussion because immediately it's because I said so, like you said.
Yeah.
And that's ridiculous to me. I think, you know, we can argue the male female thing, whatever. I don't care what you do with your life. I really don't. As long as you're not harming other people, great.
Yeah. And that's
live your way. Live your best life.
So I would say, James, that so I get what you're saying, but consider this, that the Constitution is based in Judeo-Christian tradition. So to understand the Constitution, it might be a good idea to study a little of that philosophy. I don't know enough about your guru stuff to be able to say whether that applies to the Constitution or not. You see the difference? And I don't know enough about what the actual law in Texas actually says at this point. I'm interested in it, Charlie. I don't know if you saw that, but Texas actually won their argument that they can study the Bible in the schools, I guess. But I'm wondering if that's the full story.
Right.
right? Because, and you know, I've been back and forth with some people on this in the past. I'm like, you know, I get that religion does not belong in public schools because, you know, yeah, so many people with different backgrounds, and they really should just be teaching the 3 R's and all that. I get that. So why don't you do like we did? You know, I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and we had off-campus Bible study basically during the school day. We had to use up one of our elective periods for it, and we would go on campus and we would have our seminary class, and then we would come back. And why were we allowed to do that? Number one, it was voluntary. That's a key factor, right, Charlie?
Yeah. Yeah.
Number two, it was off campus, so it was not in a government-owned building. That's another factor, right? And yeah, those are actually the two main points that I would make on that: voluntary and not on school property.
Right.
Now here in Utah, it's a little different because it's, you know, Mormonville around here, but you know, it's still voluntary though. I think the school districts here accommodated a little bit more than other places because of the population of LDS people here,
Right.
but it's still separate from actual school, even here, and it's voluntary. Where I have issues with a lot of this stuff is when it's compulsory.
Right.
You tell like even when I was in high school, Charlie, we had a Bible class in school, in high school, but it was the Bible as literature. That was the title of the course.
Right.
And it was studying the language of the Bible, focused a lot on the Psalms because that's all, you know, poetry, things like that. It didn't touch the religious aspect of it. It was just looking at the Bible as literature. Again, an elective, by the way.
Right.
It counted as a literature credit.
Nice.
But
Yeah,
I have
don't
no problem with
with
that.
stuff like that.
But if you're banging the drum, and I know I'm going to get in trouble with some people about this, maybe. If you're banging the drum for your religion and telling kids you have to be Christian, Muslim, Sikh,
Right.
whatever in school, because that's the only way to be, I got a problem with that.
Right.
If it's a class designed to help you understand where the founders were coming from, which necessitates a reading of certain passages of the Bible, like the Ten Commandments,
Right.
Along with John Locke, by the way, and Plato and Socrates, because it wasn't just the Bible they looked at, guys. Then sure, if it's a component of something else,
Right.
that's where I stand. So,
On that note, we're going to take our break. We didn't take a break at all last
and then
week.
we're going to talk about pin action real quick
Oh. When we come back, right now.
when we come back. We'll talk
We'll be
about
right
pin
back.
action.
As soon as I can find the buttons, because once again, I scroll things off where I can't see them. You're either running your business like an owner or like an employee. And if you're stuck in that employee mindset, you're leaving money on the table. Company drivers wait for direction. Business owners create opportunities. Company drivers chase miles and just drive. Business owners chase profits and know their numbers. Want to run a real business? Start tracking your numbers. Know your cost per mile and start saying no to bad loads. Drop "I run a business" in the comments if you're done thinking like an employee. If you want to take this mindset shift further, join the Road Warrior Entrepreneurs community at www.rwedrive.com, where we have profit boosting strategies, coaching calls, and real road warriors winning together. Just don't send your kids to public school if you don't want them to be indoctrinated. Look, that's always an option, right? I mean, I don't know. My kids went to public school in Oregon, and they are completely opposites if you talk to them about religion, faith, things like that. And they've always been that way. And they didn't really change in school. You know, they kind of had a set of beliefs beforehand, and they went with that, and that's what they believe. You know, hearing my, where were they, like 8 and 5, 9 and 6, something like that, having a debate in their room away from the adults and arguing their points of whether there is or is not a God. Right? And it was fascinating to me. Absolutely fascinating to me. And I think I thought it was great. I didn't push my opinions on them. Because that's the way I was raised, was make your own choices, especially on something like that.
Yep.
You know, I get we're in families, you know, it's kind of the tradition, whatever, you know, we are this, as long as you live here, you are this too. Right. But that also went the same way as politics back in the day. And how great was that? You know, oh, this is a Republican house. And if you're going to live here, you're going to be Republican, or vice versa. Right. And that just seems to push people away rather than letting them develop their own opinion. So why not allow people to make their opinions and develop those opinions based on their experience?
Well, again, you know, the most influential teachers I had would push back, but good job for having a well thought out argument.
Right.
You know, and that's what it's all about. So James Vaughn spent $200 on a rock last week.
Good job.
Okay.
I like DJs. So pilgrimage, they're on missions.
Yeah.
That you could explain that better than I can, what a mission is, because
it's just you go out for 2 years of proselyte, usually
Okay.
between the ages of 18 and 21.
My son, who's the not believer, right? Has regular conversations with Mormons
Mm-hmm.
at our front door.
Yeah.
And has conversations with them. They're not combative. They're not whatever. You know,
Well,
what
you
I mean?
know, it's still the same today. And it was the case when I went on my mission. I served in Arizona, Phoenix. We were looking for people that wanted to learn about us.
Right.
If you said no, we just went to the next door.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal to us.
Yeah. Give us a call if you want to have a chat.
Yeah. But so pin action, Charlie.
Yes, sir.
I told you about this last week. FreightWaves did a video on a 1% drop in reefer freight, a measurable 1% drop in the number of reefer loads requested by the market, and they were able to trace this to the use of GLP-1 drugs, which is, you know, your Ozempic, stuff like
Right.
that, the weight loss drugs. So it affect the people on these drugs. They don't eat as much because it's an appetite suppressor, and so it actually affected the demand for food by about 1%, which translated into a 1% drop in requested loads in the reefer market. How crazy is that?
Right.
That they were actually able to trace that back. And, you know, this is something we've touched on a little bit, you know, with how business actually works. You know, when Charlie, I think I've told you before that when I started really looking into how the freight business works and what I did and my place in society, even, everything is connected. You know, that dude ringing you up at Pilot Flying J has
Right.
a job because you fueled up there and decided to get a hot dog. If you don't fuel up there and get a hot dog, he doesn't have a job.
Right.
Now, is it a crappy job? Yeah, we can argue that it's a crappy job, but he has a job. We have work because the carriers that we're leased to need our trucks for the capacity to move freight. If there was no need for the capacity to move freight, Charlie, we would be out of work.
Right.
We'd lose our businesses. Why is there a demand for capacity to move freight? Because producers need to get their goods to market.
Right.
Why are producers producing that widget? Because someone is buying it.
Exactly.
Everything is connected. So that's something to think about, in your journey as an entrepreneur, I think. What economic impact does your business actually have in the world?
Excuse me.
Because it's not zero.
Right.
And I think that that's just kind of a higher level of thinking of business. Because I think a lot of times, we've talked about the problems with depression in the world, Charlie. But if you sit down and think about it, one of the things I really liked about being in the Army, Charlie, every single MOS, every single spot on that MTO, which is the roster for a unit,
Right.
is absolutely necessary for the mission.
Yep.
I don't care if you're Radar O'Reilly or a frontline rifleman.
Right.
Your job is necessary for that mission. And, life is like that. What we do for a living matters. Without us, goods don't get to market.
Right.
And without people wanting that widget or needing that food or whatever it is you transport, there's no business for us. It's all connected. So we do have a place in this world. Whether people recognize it or not, what we do on a day-to-day basis matters.
Right.
And I think it's worth mentioning that and have people really internalize that. Again, forklift driver, pretty thankless job as well. We don't get our trucks loaded without forklift drivers. Right?
Yep.
So it's all connected. I really like that aspect of business. And that's what I actually love about business itself, is that concept of you're providing value to society through your efforts.
Every chance I get where I am afforded the opportunity, I thank the guy that just loaded my truck, guy or girl.
Mm-hmm. What about robots?
Okay.
I highly recommend, by the way, that when you're at those DCs and it's robot loading,
Right.
poke your head around the little skirt and say thank you to the robot, because you don't know, that might be the combat robot in the future that's after your family.
Could be. I don't know. Just saying. That's why I'm nice to my AI. Yeah, but I came to the Ag Center, and they were pulling everybody through the Ag Center, right? And you can see the looks on people. Like, I passed the guy that was ahead of me after I left the Ag Center, and he was like pointing like, right? I didn't understand his response. I pulled up to the very same guy that he just spoke to.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, what are you hauling? And I said, well, paper towels. He's like, well, that's a good product. Everybody needs those things. I'm like, yes, they do. He said, all right, man, have a good day. I said, hey, thank you, you too. And I, just want you to know, I appreciate what you're doing here. Thank you. And I drove on, and he had a smile on his face. This particular ag guy, always, I've never seen him just wave me through. Anytime I see him at the window, he stops and says, what you hauling? His job.
Yeah.
Right. And bam. So many of the rest of those guys, I'm not going to lie, you can't even get them to take their eyes out their phone. They're just sitting there like this.
Yep. Last time I went through one of your ag stations, that's exactly what the gal was doing. She was,
oh God, it makes me nuts. Sometimes I'll sit there. Makes people a little crazy, but I'll sit there and wait for them to make eye contact. They don't like that. People behind you don't like that.
eye contact.
Well, interaction where people, right? Long, meaningful eye contact, especially while we're hugging, and I grip you and cradle you ever so gently.
By the way, he has said that to me on the phone while I'm driving down the road.
Yes. Yes.
I'm making eye contact with you now.
Right. Hey, man, whatever. But yeah, to Jeff's point, it all matters. We all matter. Some days we feel like we don't matter.
Yep.
We all get in that slump. then you just got to take a step back, take a deep breath, and let it out. And you know what? Maybe it's not so bad.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's an awful lot of other places out there that I could say are a whole lot worse. So,
Well, other than the business aspect of what we do, Charlie,
right.
I've told Donna several times that driving the truck itself is the easiest job I've ever had.
Right.
I went from growing up with a dad that did make work. You know what that is? Move the wood pile.
Right.
And then you find out years later there was no reason to move the wood pile.
Right.
Straighten those nails.
Yep.
Stuff like that. To going in the Army, where that was pretty tough, right? And then getting into sales, which is a lot of brain work, not a whole lot of physical. But then I went into trucking, and all I have to do, Charlie, is get from point A to point B without hitting anything and paying attention to my clock.
Right.
That's it. That's all that's required.
Crazy talk.
I understand that's oversimplistic, but that's really what the job is. Get from point A to point B on time safely. That's it.
Yeah, DJ, the Bug Shack didn't bother me, never inspected me. Every time I go through the Border Patrol and they stop me, I thank them for doing their job. Yeah, exactly.
Here's an interesting one, Shaw. I think I told you about this. Several years ago, there was one of those border checkpoints up by Eagle Pass.
Right.
Right. That one.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was the only guy out there. And I was curious. So I asked the guy, I said, I've seen these YouTube videos with these guys that say that what you're doing is unconstitutional and all that stuff. I said, and I saw him kind of do this thing. I'm like,
Right.
no, I'm not one of those guys, but I am curious. What is the authority that you're using to do this? And you know what the guy says? He's like, you know what? Here you go. He had a card in his pocket with the statute and everything
Right.
on it. And he just gave it to me. He's like, if you're really curious, here it is. And you want the full text, it's on www.such.gov. I'm like, thank you. I appreciate that. This is right around the time where that Swift driver got pulled out of the truck. Remember that?
Oh, God, that guy.
They had to breach the cab to get him out because he refused to say that he was an American citizen.
Company driver at that.
Yeah, I don't think he's driving anymore.
Oh, God, that guy. He just made me hurt all over the place.
Well,
Look, I hate those checkpoints too.
So you and I have talked about this, Charlie. If it wasn't my job, right? If I wasn't in a big truck and I was just this little old man in a Cadillac, I might mess with him a little bit.
Right?
I might. But not when it's my job.
Yep. No, it's I've told it several times, many times before, driving through. Are you a citizen? Yep. Got anyone else in the truck? Yep. My co-driver, he's up in the bunk sleeping. Is he a citizen? Yep. Can you have him poke his head out? Oh, come on, man. Dude's sleeping. I got to depend on this guy to be rested.
So they don't do that anymore, by the way.
Yeah.
Or at least they did the last time I ran through with Assume, but that was years ago. And I asked a guy about that too, and he's like, "Yeah, we were doing that for a while, but yeah, it never really." The Border Patrol guy that I was talking to, he's like, "Yeah, we don't do that anymore," and it never really set well with me to begin with. But it was decided that was a bad thing to do because you guys are on a DOT break,
Right? It's just annoying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
God, it's just, you'll take my word for me, but you won't take my word for my co-driver. I mean, look, let's just do a full inspection, bro. I mean, if you're going to wake him up, let's make it worth something.
So I had him coming out of Laredo a couple of years ago. The guy actually had a little conversation with me. He's like, "Hey, man, do you mind going through the X-ray thing? We got to do so many of those a day.
Right.
You mind being one of our guys?" I'm like, "Okay, I don't care." It's like, "Thanks,
Right.
man. Just pull through there, and the guy will tell you when to stop and when to go."
Are my eyeballs going to glow? That's all I want to know.
Yeah. But that was kind of interesting. We got to do so many a day. Do you mind being one of our guinea pigs?
Right.
No, I don't mind.
I'm positive Swift fired that guy, DJ. I'm positive. Tim said, what happened with the Swift guy? So yeah, that dude like literally went in there and argued. No, I'm not answering your questions. I'm gonna be as difficult as I possibly can. I'm not gonna do nothing. You can't even get in my truck. You need to piss off. He was a company driver. I'm just saying, it wasn't even his truck.
Yeah,
Just-
and the border patrol officer gave him every opportunity too. He's like,
yeah.
sir, if you don't, all I'm asking is if you're a citizen, if you're gonna not cooperate, we're gonna have to bring you out of the truck. And it turned into, he actually told him, look, we will breach your truck.
Yes.
We will pull you out. And they ended up tasing him in the whole 9 yards. It was
That's great.
I'm kind of wishing that they had more body cam footage back then.
Right. Would have been fun to watch. Look, I like watching people get tased. I'm not gonna lie. I think it's hilarious. I think it's hilarious. Yeah, that was years ago, Fran. You could probably look it up. Swift driver, border patrol refusal, something like that. I'm sure it'll pop up. It's hilarious. It's just, you're just like, God, man, why, bro? I get it, but why? Why in a company truck? Because you don't have any say. You know, the company says, get out of the truck. You get out of the truck. That's just the way the world goes. You know what I mean? You could literally be trespassed in a Swift truck by Swift.
Yeah. It's weird.
That's why you can't carry a firearm in a Swift truck as a company driver. It's their property.
Yep.
They make the rules in their property. Just get over it. Anyhow, I don't know. Yeah, it was great. I feel like I missed something. Toot. Maybe not. If I did, come back to me. Oh, it's good stuff. I had acupuncture today. Full body. It was awesome. Went in.
Yeah, Mike, I had this happen to me too. The first student that I had that was a refugee from Somalia, because they have a lot of them up in Seattle. And I was out of Troutdale at the time, so about half my students came from up there. He says, I had a student forgot his green card. That was a nightmare. I dropped him off when I got back to the terminal. Yeah, so that was interesting. It's Swift. So, and he was with me, the mentor, and it was in the first 50 hours. So I was right there in the jump seat next to him. And the border patrol guy is like, so you don't have your green card. You do realize that I could have you arrested and deported right now.
Yep.
And he kind of messed with him for about 5 minutes. I thought the dude was getting arrested. But they ended up letting him go based on that it was Swift, and they know that Swift checks all this stuff.
Right.
But, you know, he was telling me later, well, I keep it in my fireproof safe at home. And I'm like, and so I looked it up and I showed him. I said, it says right here that you are required by law to have that on your person when you leave your house. And it also says right here that all immigrants are required to sign a piece of paper saying they understand that.
Right.
So I don't know where you're coming from, dude.
Yeah. When Rosie first started driving, she was a green card holder, permanent resident alien.
Mm-hmm. And she kept it with her.
You damn right.
Yeah.
And we were running all kinds of border crap back then.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, she didn't get her citizenship till after she became a driver. So, you know, whatever.
Yeah. You know, especially when you have to sign something that you understand.
Right.
That's what got me. It's like, come on, dude. You know?
Right. Yeah, it's a trip. I don't know. We could do this all day and probably piss off a bunch of people. I don't know.
Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah, sure. You betcha.
Should I talk about the guy that spoke so little English I had to use Google Translate back when Google Translate was brand new to try and communicate with him?
That's fantastic.
I ended up taking him back to Troutdale and saying, look, man, I can't communicate. I told Mike, I said, he can't communicate. I'm having to use Google Translate to talk to him.
Yeah, that's a problem.
That would be a real issue today.
Oh, God. You know, talking about that and ag centers, I could tie them both together. Pretty sure the ag center was doing language verification when we came through this, because they had a bunch of people that looked a certain way, pulled off to the side.
Okay.
Just saying. That's what it appeared to be to me.
So you have, I'm curious, and again, we're going off on tangents, but okay, whatever. You live in Florida.
Wednesday.
You live in Florida. You have a fairly sizable Cuban population there. Do you know a lot of them? I'm just
Mostly
wondering.
South Florida.
I'm just wondering, in that community, is it less of an issue than other communities with the English language? I've been curious about that for a while because,
Yeah, I don't know. South
Just-
Florida is the big population.
is it?
Yeah.
I'd be
It's-
interested to know that because it's a lot of people down there.
But I do know that there was quite a few people who left trucking from the South Florida population.
Okay, so that might be an indicator then.
So, and some of them, I mean, I talked to a few, they were like, yeah, man, I got out. Crazy thick accent,
Mm-hmm.
spoke a little bit of Spanglish
Mm-hmm.
while talking to me. I think they would have passed, but they didn't want to risk it. So they got out. I'm like, whatever, man, it's a choice.
Yeah. Well, it's not that I don't feel for these guys because I do. Some of them are losing their livelihoods and they got families to feed, yada yada. I get that, but a lot of the stories I'm seeing about the guys that are losing their CDL, I've been driving for 12 years, no accident. Okay, so in 12 years you couldn't become compliant?
Right.
I don't know. Maybe you had to know, because in the United States, I don't know if you're aware of this, Charlie, but in the United States, we could potentially have a major political wind shift every 4 years.
Right.
I don't know if you're aware of that or not.
Yeah. That's
And so policies change with that shift.
Yep.
I don't know. Be prepared for whatever.
Right.
Would be my best advice. I mean, that's one of the things we teach on the show, regardless of who's in office. What are you doing for yourself?
Right.
And are you preparing for when it switches the other way?
Yeah.
You know,
Matt said, I was at a scale in Colorado and a driver tried to give the DOT officer one of those translator earbuds. That's funny.
wow.
That's a ballsy move right there. I'm not going to lie. Oh, that's great.
But like one of the big ones, Charlie, is this whole exhaust system issue. We have some pretty right-wing Republicans in office right now, right?
Yeah.
And so regulations have changed that softened some of that. Well, who's to say that in 2 years we don't end up with AOC as president? And
Stop it.
it goes exactly the opposite. We go back into that draconian EPA scenario, right? That could happen. She's the front runner right now, by the way, on the Democratic side. Just so
Sounds
you know,
like a
Charlie.
shoe-in for any Republican.
Maybe. I have my opinion on her.
I hope.
Just so you know, Charlie, because you know my opinion, but I'm going to make it public. She graduated top of her class in college. So I have a hard time reconciling what comes out of her mouth sometimes and that type of intelligence. It's weird.
If she's the front runner, the other lady, you know the one,
Mhm.
gonna be her VP pick. I'm just saying.
Probably.
That'd be hilarious.
I'm just going to put this out there. Okay, Charlie, you ready?
Yeah.
Condoleezza Rice, 2028.
Okay.
That woman will not get back into politics, though.
Can't blame her. You can't blame her. She saw what an absolute shit show it was from deep inside.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of the respect I have for Condi Rice is that she started her career in politics really back in the Clinton White
Right.
House, and she worked for several presidents. Just a really smart lady. And she does lean to the conservative side, so I would like to see her run as a Republican, but I don't know if she honestly, Charlie, and I'm going to put this out there. This will surprise a lot of people. If Condoleezza Rice ran as a Democrat, I would have to give that serious consideration.
Right?
Seriously.
Yeah. No. Absolutely. Yeah. Look, I voted Democrat. I have no problem saying it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it right now, this second.
No.
But, look, man, I vote conscience.
Okay, Tim, I don't know if you meant that to be funny, but I find it funny. At least AOC worked a blue-collar job. That is true. No, Tim, Trump can't run again. It would be unconstitutional. And the people on the right that are trying to change that, I don't think they understand how the Constitution works. Y'all Democrats. Okay. I find it entertaining when I'm interacting with people.
Firing up both sides now. It's great.
I find it entertaining, Charlie. And I take pride in this. When I'm interacting with people on Facebook, and in one day, I can get the reaction, you libtard and you mag hat in the same day.
Right? Yes.
If I can piss off both groups of people in one day, I'm a happy guy. Boy, this went down the tubes fast, didn't it?
Right? We are. Just go ahead and jump here. Look, start talking Democrat stuff, Jeff. You're wrong.
Okay. You want me to play Carvel?
Yeah,
you're wrong.
You're wrong. Okay, I said so.
Well, do you remember the old Hannity and Combs show back before? Yeah. They were perfectly matched because Hannity is so far right and Combs is so far left, and yet they would have these awesome conversations about policy. It was great.
Hi, Ida. I hope Snow White is there. Hi, Snow White. Sorry.
Oh, did we mess up the schedule again this week?
Yes.
Oh, Charlie. Bad Charlie. Bad Charlie.
My bad. I was running freight yesterday, and look, I was literally about to fall asleep.
Dude, I was wrecked yesterday. Like, I didn't get out of bed.
I was barely gonna make it home just in time to do the show while on this load, and then I stopped and took a 3-hour nap. And it was I made a decision. Either I take a nap or we die.
Yeah, that's a good decision then.
I thought that was the right choice. You got to make those choices every day. She says hi. Yay. But yeah, it was a day. Oh my gosh. Like, I did not sleep well the night before. And it's because, first day on the road in 2 or 3 weeks, whatever it was, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't sleep well the first night anyhow. And it was out and back type of thing. Like I said, from Florida to Brundage to Mobile, and we final out in Florida tomorrow. What?
Rosie missing her.
Oh, I talked about you going back road crazy, getting lost.
I was not prepared for that.
It was fun.
Yeah, so I've been wrecked since last Monday. Doctor decided to put me on one of those GLP-1s, and it's actually the third one I've tried. And this was by far the worst one, Charlie. I had these nasty side effects from those shots. So I've taken 2 shots so far. And after this last one, Donna and I decided that we're not doing that anymore. Because literally, like, I was supposed to take the custard mustard starter to the shop last week.
Right.
And I couldn't safely drive because I had such bad stomach cramps and stuff. I just really bad. And I don't know if any of you all have tried the GLP-1s. Like I said, the most famous one is Ozempic,
right?
Which is the one that insurance companies don't cover as much because people scam their doctors into getting it or whatever. But anyway,
right?
Because it's supposed to be a diabetic medication, but people use it for weight loss because it kills your appetite, basically.
Right.
So it just wrecked me. And so I just got this truck to the dealership today. I felt well enough to drive today, but man, it was terrible, Charlie. Terrible.
Right.
And the doctor's like, well, if you could just hold in there for another 4 to 6 weeks, the side effects should subside by then. And I'm like, 4 to 6 weeks, I've got to work. What are you talking about? I got to work and I can't work.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Your body will adjust in 4 to 6 weeks. Okay.
Hi, everybody.
Hey,
Happy
Rosie.
4th. Hi, Ida. Hi, Snow White.
Now get out of here. Oh, I'm just kidding. Watch, you smack me right there for that one. Oh, let them argue back and forth. That's a funny one to watch. I'm just saying. It's what happens. I just said Rosie, and that's what happens when we start politics. It's fun sometimes. There's too much. I'm just not going back anymore.
Yeah.
Politics, love it.
Hey,
You
that's
know what,
people
though?
want to talk about.
So,
Of course, we're down to 3 people watching now.
I've been watching it. There's a weird thing happening. It keeps bouncing back and forth. Oh, nice.
Should get some good shorts out of this one, though.
Right? Oh my God. Oh, I can't wait to see some of those. I was gonna say something, I lost it. Who had in the show?
Well, Mike, I did mention it earlier in the show too.
Yeah,
so
you
I
missed it,
mentioned
bro.
twice today.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
It's just anytime I talk about the truck, I've got to put that in there. Custom Moisture Star.
Right? Oh my God, it's great. Oh, I got stuff popping up.
Yeah, Manjaro is this last one that I tried, TK. That's the latest one I tried, and it's by far been the worst on the side effects.
Really?
Yeah. The other one, like Trulicity, I was on for a couple months, and it did okay-ish. So
I've heard people talk about the Manjaro one, totally loving it because it really did work the way. Who was it? It was one of our guys that switched to Manjaro and loved it.
the guy we tried to get to sell insurance.
Why can't I think of it? My brain is broken. I apologize. Names are gone today. You should have seen me trying to describe stuff to my doctor of Chinese medicine today. She was cracking up because I could not make words happen. And then she'd fill in the words. She wasn't like me because when I see people doing it, I just sit back and wait for a while. Yeah, it's biting me in the butt right now because I've been struggling with words. It's been great. Oh, God. Friend, you're good. Don't worry about it. I don't care what side you guys want to argue. We really don't mind, honest to God. I think it's hilarious. I think it's a great example of what's wrong with politics today. Because, friend, don't take this wrong. You argue very strongly one side. Timothy argues very strongly the other side.
Right.
I think that's the problem with politics today. Ida, you are banned forever.
Oh, we're going to start that again, are we?
Look, we can talk politics, but we ain't bringing up that can of worms.
Yeah.
Just saying. That one's terrible. Oh, wait. Owner operator, lease operator. What? I mean, if we're going to throw all the fires out there, let's just make it happen.
Yeah, you want actual legal definitions. Charlie, you're an owner operator. Guy with his own authority is a carrier.
Right.
Right.
That is no lie right there.
English and bad English. That's yeah.
Look, I play this game and
I know a third one, Charlie.
What's that?
I know a third one. English, bad English, and profanity.
Yes. I'm very fluent in profanity. That is probably my best language. Yeah, it was. I play this game. Most of the people are Russian, it seems. Russians and Germans, odd. quite a few Ukrainian people. This is the amazing part. I have very rarely seen the Russians and Ukrainians argue their politics in the game. Every now and then, someone that's not one of those will fire something up between them.
Right.
Because it's usually a Brit. Just saying. Usually a Brit.
That makes sense.
Happy 4th of July. Yes. God.
Or as they call it in Great Britain, Happy Insurrection Day.
Right. And
we need to
like,
answer Tim's question, by the way.
I'll come back. It's great because, some of them be like, man, my English is terrible. So I'm like, dude, just type Russian. It's fine. I'm like, your English is better than mine. And it's my primary language. I mean, let's just be real. Whatever. Because it's all type-based, a couple people that I talked to in Discord when we're playing, a German buddy of mine there, he's like, man, my English is terrible. I'm like, bro, it's as good as mine or better. It's funny. Anyhow, where? Throw it up.
So Tim's asking about transmission flush on his 2020 Cascade.
That was one of the posts I saw today.
160,000 miles. So Tim, there is a maintenance interval on the auto shift transmissions that's every 350,000 miles. Have you been doing those? Because they changed so it's not transmission fluid. It's oil, but it's a certain type of oil. It has to be that's rated for that transmission. That gets changed, and then they change some of the rubber O-rings in the system. That needs to be done every 350,000 miles on those transmissions. So my question is, have you been doing that? Because that's all you really need to do. Because they are draining and replacing that fluid.
Rachel Moskowski. I like that name. Apparently new viewer listener last week. I just saw this. Sorry, I haven't been spending a lot of time on Facebook at all lately. Actually posted a comment. She said, I don't know who Matt, Craig, and Chris are, but I listened to the podcast and thought there was a lot I could learn from it. I'm potentially going to be starting the journey as a lease up, and I definitely don't know a lot. That would be very, very helpful. The math makes sense from the viewpoint discussed. I'll look forward to listening to y'all some more. So I hope you're listening this week. Sorry, I just saw it. I was actually looking for a different post and that one popped up. That discussion that you're talking about right there, the Tim thing, Jeff, someone had posted a thing about they just got their transmission drained and flushed and transfer case and all that stuff done. And they saw a visible increase in their fuel mileage running the same lanes and everything. So I thought that was an interesting.
Yeah, I questioned their numbers though on that one. They say it's getting 10.2 doing 70 miles an hour.
Just saying.
With 44,000 pounds on board.
It did say it averaged 52. I don't know. Okay, serious question. I was topping a mountain earlier in PA. Sign said all trucks must stop at the brake check station. How long do I have to stay there?
I can tell you how long I do stay there. I stop, set the brakes, walk around the truck, and go.
T-Bone's not being serious. You know what? You need to stay there until DOT tells you to leave, bro.
Yeah, is that one of those mandatory level 1 inspection areas?
Yes.
Okay.
We're going with that.
Yeah, that DOT cop will be with you in 6 to 10 days.
Right. Dude, I've seen those. The fake twin stick conversion kits.
What?
And I've seen trucks that have the great big high stick that are automatics.
Just for looks?
And they wiggle and everything. It's great. I'm just like, whatever, man.
Okay.
That's funny. Charlie, what do you think about tow companies that don't know how to take out or put back drive shafts? That's
the thing.
Look, and if they say it, tell them to get away. I'll wait for the next guy, please. Just saying.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was stuck on, and so I'm like scrolling to catch up chat. Yeah, they got an average off the dash. You know how I feel about that. The newer trucks, I'm not gonna lie, they are pretty dang close. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Tim, I'm kind of with you, bro.
I do get out and walk around the truck though, stretch my legs.
I don't.
Yeah.
Most time I don't. I pull over,
well,
the truck
It,
stop.
depend, it depends on how much room there is. If it's one of those itty bitties, then no.
Right.
But you know, like the bigger ones, like going down the west side of Donner, where they got that huge pull-out area with the
Yeah.
porta potties and everything.
No,
Yeah.
that is a good time to take a break real quick. Let's just be
Yeah.
real. You know, think about your path. That one on, what is it? Is it 26 or 75? I think it's 26, 24, 24. I don't know. It's one of those interstates that crosses I-75 down towards, cuts you over to 75, whatever. I don't know, broken. There's a big hill there, and it's a mandatory. Everybody has to get off the interstate. There's 2 lanes, red and green light system.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically an info board. It shows you where the runaway ramps are, tells you the basic speed limit. And then right after you pull out of there, you know, the limit is then dependent on your weight. So, you know,
Yeah.
but no, I'm look, man, I don't know. I don't want to give somebody bad advice. Mont Eagle, Tennessee. Yes, thank you. See, words, they're not my friend. T-Bone, thank you. Whatever. I don't bypass them.
No, me either.
You
know what would happen if I bypassed one, Charlie? There'd be a state trooper right there.
There'd be like a state trooper graduation day thing going on, like happens in Arizona every now and then.
Right past the apex, just so you can't see them until you're past the station.
Right.
Yeah, that's where they're sitting.
Like one of my last inspections, well, it was a couple inspections ago, a long time ago, was great because it was in Arizona on I-10 rest area. They're like all trucks. And it was like final exam day for the DOT class. And you had 2 or 3 people inspecting your truck simultaneously.
Nice.
You were guaranteed not to win. The one thing they did get me for was my one they got me for my satellite radio was mounted low on the windshield
on
a suction cup.
Yeah.
And they argued and wrote the violation for my blue pre-pass box.
What?
Within the sweep of the wiper.
Oh.
And
I've never gotten hemmed up over that.
They had to fight it. And it was determined later that oh, hi. Are we here?
Yeah.
That was weird, right?
Yeah, it was.
Did you see the spinny wheels?
Yep.
Okay. Could you hear the spinny wheels?
Could I what?
Could you hear me?
No.
Oh, wow. That was crazy. I don't know what the hell that was. That was awesome. It's like
I couldn't tell if it was me, you, or both.
Yeah.
Like right now, you're frozen. Because someone put in the chat if they can hear me, and if it's just Charlie, or if it. There he is. Nope. Back. Oh, yeah. Zoop. Freddy is the devil.
I heard you.
Okay.
That was weird.
Are you using Narc's internet, Charlie?
This is freaking me out, man.
Okay, so people are saying it's just Charlie, so that's cool then. In that
Man.
case, I think Charlie's been having issues with his internet the last couple of weeks, so I don't know.
It should
He
be
swears
good.
he hasn't touched it.
Mm-mm.
Well, more often than not, it's me. So that's why you guys saw me just sitting here twiddling my thumbs, because I thought it was just me.
But wait, if we were both spinning wheels, did you have a spinning wheel in front of your camera too?
No, not this time.
Okay, so then it is me. See, I had two spinning wheels. It showed me and you as spinning wheels. My bad. Oh, it's my internet is gone today. I don't know what the heck's going on.
I don't know.
Bro, gremlins.
Yeah.
They're getting me.
Now it's a good time to screenshot Charlie's frozen face. Turnabout's fair play, right, guys? I think he's got a whole library of me. You know. So yeah. Yeah, so that whole pin action thing is what I really wanted to focus on today, but we got down the political rabbit hole. Again, you know, the when you're looking at business, that's what I truly, truly love about business in general. You know, you got I'll say it, you got these rich guys out there with these huge companies, and you got a certain crowd saying, "Oh, we should tax the heck out of them." Well, they already pay more taxes than the rest of us. But you know where most of their money is sitting? It's not under a mattress. It's not in a bank account. It's in businesses. And I've been in the process of actually, because old Elon is in the crosshairs right now. And I was curious what would happen if he actually cashed out and just said, okay, here you go. Here's all this money. Let's end world hunger. And my preliminary findings is that would I'm almost ready to say that it would cause a worldwide cascade and crash the world economy if he did that, with the amount of wealth that's in play. And, you know, let me explain that for a second, because again, this is one of the things I love about business. So he's building his rockets over there, right? And, you know, by the way, he's not a trillionaire anymore, because the stock of both Tesla and SpaceX went down in last week off of their highs. But think about this for a second. You know, there's what he does: builds rockets, builds cars, whichever business you want to take. But what's the pin action there? There's a company that employs about 50 people that make an O-ring or a bolt or something for those rockets or those cars. If he cashed out, SpaceX and Tesla would immediately go bankrupt, because he's taking that much value out of those companies. So now that mom and pop goes out of business. Well, what about that McDonald's franchise that exists outside the gates of SpaceX simply because SpaceX is there? Well, they go out of business. And there'd be this cascading effect of businesses going out of business because Tesla and SpaceX are no longer doing their thing. So from my perspective as an Uber capitalist, I suppose that, Tim Ransom and I are going to disagree on this. But from a purely capitalist point of view, it's that pin action that is the best at redistributing wealth. We're always going to have the poor among us, as Jesus said. And yes, we need to have a safety net for those people. I truly believe that. But by and large, the job creation that happens because these wealthy people build their businesses, that's where the true wealth distribution happens. So again, no, I've never hauled anything for SpaceX, but let's say I did. They needed those nuts and bolts from that mom and pop in another state to come in, and so they hire my truck to transport those. Well, I'm getting a piece of Elon's pie at that point. My business thrives because their two businesses need that stuff moved from point A to point B. And if you really, really plotted it out, how many people have jobs because SpaceX needs something. It'll make your head explode. So it looks like Charlie's out. I hope you guys can still see me because we're going to end here pretty soon. But yeah, that's just one of the things I want you guys to think about. Really is what your place is. Know that you have value intrinsically, and that what the value that you're providing to the economy truly matters. Because again, truck stops. I just got street tacos at a taco stand, food truck the other day when I was delivering an HEB down in Texas. So because I wanted tacos, I spent money there, and they got money. They made a profit off of me. So it really does, for lack of a better term, trickle down. I know that that's a taboo subject, hailing all the way back to Reaganomics and all that stuff. But to an extent, it does work that way. It's much more nuanced than what a lot of people that use that buzzword want to think that it does. But it does work that way to an extent. And so just think about for a second what your place is in all of this, and kind of take a little bit of pride in it. You know, the country is flourishes because we do what we do. Our country flourishes because small businesses do what they do. That's really the heartbeat of America. You know, everybody wants to talk about the big dogs, you know, Bezos, Musk, those guys. And yeah, they're important, but it's the small businesses, that little mom and pop that makes that grommet that SpaceX needs. That's where the true redistribution of wealth happens. So yeah, that's yeah, Tim, you're right about that. The monopolistic thing. There is a reason. Like I used to work for the phone company, which used to be a monopoly years and years and years ago. And so I'll address that real quick as we close. The monopolies. So innovation was pretty much dead in the telephone industry when the Graham Bell Company was the monopoly. I didn't enter it until the early 2000s, but I was privileged to work with people that had been working for Bell companies since the 1970s, and their eyewitness account of what happened after the breakup of the Bell companies is a perfect example of why monopolies themselves are bad. There was no innovation in the phone company because there was no competition. As soon as the government stepped in and said, "Hey, you guys aren't doing the job that we think you should be doing, so we're going to break you up into these other companies and we're going to allow competition." Well, all of a sudden you had things like call waiting, caller ID, um, a choice in what phone you bought. I don't know if people realize this, but before the Bell company got broken up, um, you leased a phone from the Bell company and they came and hardwired installed it in your home, and you didn't have a choice. So if you like, you know, for those of you that are old like me, how great it was to have this phone, which was still a wired phone. We didn't have cell phones back then, but it had a memory where you could program 5 numbers into the phone. That was not a thing before the Bell company got broken up, because what it did was it forced competition. And when you force competition, then innovation actually happens. So you're right, Tim. I'm going to agree with you on that. So mark that on your calendar. Jeff agreed with Tim on something. um, yeah, there is that part of it. So, and I think in the space thing that might end up happening. Because right now, what do you have? You have Elon, you have Bezos, and you have Branson, that are basically the 3 contenders for the private space industry. So right now we have 3 that are competing against each other. Is that enough? I don't know. Time will tell. So, yeah, Rockefeller rang the bell. They certainly did. But anyway, so I'm getting lost in the comments, and without Charlie here to bounce off, I'm gonna just sit here and read, and you guys are gonna get bored. So, let me see if I can figure out the buttons. This is normally a Charlie thing, of course. What do we got? We got demos. We got widgets. Those of you that do your own podcast know what I'm looking at. We use StreamYard, so I just got to find the right media assets. There we go. All right, so we're going to end it there. And just think about that pin action. What's your impact on the economy? What's your impact on other people with your activities? It does matter, guys. It does matter. So, assuming I found it. Outro. Let's see if that works. Oh, Charlie's in. Charlie. Oh, it's got a. You're on your phone, aren't you, Charlie?
Yes, I am.
So I agreed with Tim. You missed a part where I agreed with Tim Ransom.
Oh my gosh.
I agree with him on monopolies.
Okay. Oof, it's weird.
So do you have controls or do I have to push buttons?
I have controls, but you'll have to push the buttons.
So video clips. I'm in video clips. Do I push outro for ending the show?
Oh yeah, you'll hit end, and right below the end button, I think it might say end show with outro or something like that at the top of the screen.
In stream?
Yeah. With outro. Something like that.
Play outro
Anyhow.
in stream. Okay. Do you have anything else to say, Charlie?
No. My cable's completely out. It says there's an outage in my area. So yeah, that's what it turned into.
Okay. Say your thing.
Whatever. Hey, nobody's out here looking after us but us. Look after each other, you guys. And we'll see you Tuesday. I'll probably be on the road Tuesday, so it'll be just as bad as right this moment.
Okay. All right, we're out.